This thing in the way.
And before I get started again, I actually worked in this district for about 23 years, and I spent a lot of time on this lake myself. As an history at Lake Columbia, construction began in May of 1985, and water was running over the spillway by February of 1987. And I understand that that's been a problem. It's looking like we were kind of aggravated about the rain today, but that's a good thing. We're getting the lake filled back up. The lake is 3,000 acres and stores 1 billion gallons of water. 1 billion gallons of water. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission was involved with this lake project early on, well before the construction began. Back then, Director Steve Wilson provided supportive comments for the project and a commitment to assist with access when the lake was in the planning stages. Arkansas Game and Fish held a public meeting in the fall of 1986 to get input from the public on future fisheries management and to explain the process of killing out the existing fish and the initial stocking of the lake. Later, the fish kill was conducted with participation of over 300 county residents. And Florida bass, crappie, brim, and catfish were stocked. 3 boat ramps were built by the Arkansas Game and Fish with courtesy docks added soon after. 2 handicapped accessible fishing piers were built by the Arkansas Game and Fish and 2 at the access areas as the lake was being constructed. Arkansas Game and Fish later added an additional boat ramp at South Shore Landing in the year 2000. In addition to providing access facilities for anglers and other recreational users, the Arkansas Game and Fish has sampled the fish populations every year since the impoundment was, when it was incepted. Biologists have used the data they collected to implement appropriate harvest regulations for sport fish in the lake. The Game and Fish has stocked over, I want you to listen to these numbers, 2.6 million Florida bass, 350,000 catfish, almost 1 million crappie, and hundreds of thousands of brim over the years. More fish population sampling has been conducted on Lake Columbia in 2013 than any year since its impoundment. Arkansas Game and Fish biologists held 2 public meetings in Magnolia this year to get public input about the fisheries management. The most important issue identified by the public was declining fish habitat on the lake. In response to this, biologists, there's the duck showing up. In response to this, biologists worked with the lake staff to build over 100 new fish attracting structures this past summer, with many more planned for 2014. In addition to our cooperation on this new fishing pier and other access facilities, Arkansas Game and Fish commitment to excellent fisheries management on this lake will continue. And with that said, I was talking to someone recently. I went over to Millwood to one of these dedications, and it was a very similar pier as to what we have here, very similar. And I showed up early there that morning. And you know, we take things for granted. We do, as we can walk in here this morning and we're able to get around and drive here. But there was a gentleman in a wheelchair. He was out on this pier. And I got there that morning. He was a retired police officer from Oklahoma City, but he was actually from the town of Millwood. But while I was talking to him, he caught 2 big crappie, and he had several others in the bucket. But as he began to thank me for this pier, he almost had tears in his eyes, and he said, you know, I'm not able to get in a boat anymore. And he said he had a little dog with him on a leash tied to his wheelchair. He said, I come here every day. And I asked him to join us at that meeting that morning. But as I drove home that day, I quickly realized, you know, how important it may not be to but 2 or 3 people, but never take, I guess the message that I'm trying to send, never take those things for granted, because if we can get in a boat and go fishing, there's 10 other people that can, and these are the things that will make this lake accessible to them. And also when they come here, they spend money when they're using these facilities, and it only enhances the economy of the whole county. And I'm proud, as director of the Game and Fish Commission, first and my staff for getting these projects started and completed, and working with each community as we do things like this, because they're very important to the economy, but just to the quality of life. And I appreciate Columbia County's efforts in working with us and cooperation to get these things done.